Thank you for coming this afternoon. We are here this afternoon to announce charges that have been filed today as a result of a 22-month investigation of Richard Grundy III and members of what we allege to be a criminal organization. Charge of murder has been filed against Mr. Grundy and Victor Walls-Tenon in connection with the death of Kindred Mincy on October 21st, 2013. Mr. Grundy and Walls-Tenon, as well as 9 others, have been charged each with the following charges: conspiracy to commit dealing in marijuana as a Class C felony, corrupt business influence as a Class C felony, conspiracy to commit murder, a Class A felony, criminal gang activity, a Class D felony. And in addition, all 11 defendants have been added a criminal gang enhancement as an enhancement which would double any penalty, any felony penalty, if they were convicted of a felony and then convicted of the criminal gang enhancement. The additional 9 defendants are Amanda Grundy, who is the wife of Richard Grundy III, Richard Grundy Jr., who is the father of Mr. Grundy, David Carroll, Anthony Tenon, Victor Tenon, who are brothers, Adrian Bullock, Avery Bullock, who are brothers, Eric Butler, Dion Johnson, Shante Boss Johnson, who are husband and wife. In addition, the Tenons and the Bullocks are cousins of Richard Grundy III. We have provided you, or will provide you, with an 83-page probable cause affidavit, but in essence, we allege that this group of individuals have been engaged in drug dealing, specifically marijuana, which has been transported by way of parcel services from primarily Phoenix, Arizona to Indianapolis, that the parcels are generally delivered to addresses not affiliated with these 11 individuals, that funds are deposited, have been deposited in Indianapolis and simultaneously withdrawn in Phoenix, Arizona in conjunction with the drug dealing, and that these individuals, including Mr. Grundy, have engaged in frequent travel to various cities, but primarily between Indianapolis and Phoenix, Arizona. It is also alleged that in furtherance of this conspiracy and in order to protect their drug dealing operation, that these 11 individuals are connected to at least 6 homicides which have occurred here in Marion County, as well as several assaults. As I said, these charges are the result of a 22-month investigation, which was an ATF-led task force led by the U.S. Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosive Agency. The task force included detectives from the Marion County Sheriff's Office, detectives from the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department, and the U.S. Postal Service. It is alleged that the Postal Service, in connection with this investigation, intercepted parcels with approximately 800 pounds of marijuana coming into Indianapolis. In addition to the agencies involved in the investigation, the task force has worked with our office on a consistent, regular basis in the course of this investigation, primarily our deputy prosecutors Denise Robinson and Claire South. As I said about a week ago, when many of you were present at the demolition of the former clubhouse of the outlaw gang, that the demolition of that clubhouse was symbolic of the efforts of the federal agencies and the state agencies to dismantle criminal organizations. And this is yet another step in that process. At this time, all defendants are in custody other than David Carroll and Amanda Grundy, and we would urge those two individuals to surrender to our police officers. With that, Deputy Chief Crow.
Thank you, Prosecutor. I think you can understand why those of us in the law enforcement community are very pleased this afternoon. This is the kind of work that truly makes an impact in our community. Sometimes, it's easy for people to get impatient because we know certain kinds of activities are going on, but these investigations are methodical, they're deliberate, and they do take time sometimes. So on behalf of Chief Height and the rest of us with IMPD, we want to say thank you to the prosecutor and his team, the rest of our law enforcement partners that were part of this investigation. And I want the Indianapolis community to know that we will continue working together to put a stop to these kinds of activities in our neighborhoods and in our community. Thank you.
And Lieutenant Colonel Grundy from the Sheriff's Office.
Hello, Sheriff Layton and the Sheriff's Office is happy to be part of this investigation, which included the hard work of several different agencies. And with that hard work, you got the results today, and everyone is extremely happy with the way everyone worked together, cooperated together, and got the work taken care of. Thank you.
Take a few questions.
Terry, how evil is the Grundy Crew?
I'm sorry?
How evil is the Grundy Crew?
Well, I can't speak beyond what's in the probable cause affidavit, but obviously we have alleged that these individuals have engaged in a number of violent acts in protection and furtherance of a drug dealing operation.
And how extensive was their operation?
Well, we believe obviously that there was systematic shipment of marijuana from Phoenix into Indianapolis, and as I said before, in a relatively sophisticated way, in that the parcels came in to various addresses so as to not trigger suspicion. And again, when confronted with issues, that they dealt with those issues by way of violence.
This crew is charged with 6 murders. How many murders, unsolved murders in the last 2 years in Marion County do you suppose these guys might know something about?
I can't speak to anything other than what's in the probable cause affidavit.
Are they being investigated for any other murders?
I think it's fair to say that if it's a 22-month investigation, that investigators will continue to pursue any other avenues that are out there, leads that are out there, as not only as it relates to perhaps acts involving these individuals, but the other individuals who might have been associated with them.
Is the drug trafficking related to some of those murder cases? Would that be some of the motives behind some of the charges that Grundy already faces?
That is precisely what is alleged in the probable cause affidavit. That is correct.
Do latest charges have any effect on any of their pending cases and Grundy is for trial next month?
No, those cases will remain pending. It's set forth in the press release. Mr. Grundy has 2 other cases pending at this time, one involving conspiracy to distribute cocaine. The second involves a conspiracy to commit murder with a co-defendant, John Means. Those cases remain pending.
Is this crew dismantled or is it still operating out there?
Well, we will see.
Well, no, you know whether you've locked up enough of the leadership and enough of their soldiers out there. Are they still out there running? Are people still getting killed? Or have you effectively dismantled that crew, especially when you take all their dads and wives?
We obviously have alleged that Mr. Grundy has been the head of an operation that's been in Marion County at least back to 2012. The investigation, obviously we believe, has identified the key players. If there is ongoing investigation of other individuals, I can't speak to that at this time.
Thank you.
Can you talk a little bit up there when it comes from a law enforcement perspective? If you're taking off the Grundy Crew, and they were running basically from 30th in Illinois up to 3800 Illinois, 38th Street, and the last couple of weeks we've seen a lot of changes going on up at 40th and Boulevard Place. Can you paint for us a picture of what is going on, let's say from south of 42nd Street all the way down to 30th Street? If you've effectively shut down this crew south of 38th, and you've got more things going on between 38th and 42nd up there, because a lot of those people are on the run too.
I think you asked a good question, Russ, and I'm going to defer to Deputy Chief of Investigations, Bill Laura, to kind of touch on that.
I'm not sure I can answer that as direct as you would probably like it to be answered, but this crew, we know, is a violent crew, and as Prosecutor Curry indicated, will have an impact on our community. To what extent totally that impact is, I think is time will tell. We continue to investigate cases associated with this group and other groups. If you're speaking to the violence in and around the lower half of Butler-Tarkington, we continue to work that area. We have intelligence that is unrelated to this group on some violence that is occurring in that area. We think it's isolated with a small amount of individuals, that are committing most of those crimes, but we continue to work with our partners in the operations side as far as increased patrol. We've had many things going on in those areas to try to put a stop to that violence. The investigations are ongoing. I can't speak to what we're doing at this point, but I can say for today, the impact of this arrest should be significant, and we'll continue to investigate cases related to or leads that we get on maybe some of the underlings or some of the people that may be associated at a very lower level to the Grundys.
And I guess I would add just something that obviously I've said before, and that is that clearly the focus has become quality, not quantity, in terms of these investigations, and the goal is to dismantle these various organizations. And if you think back within the last couple of years, that would include the Havard crew at 40th and Boulevard, block burners, outlaws. We've now filed charges in the Grundy organization, and as I've said before, the results of those investigations and dismantling of those criminal enterprises, the effect of that will not necessarily be seen tomorrow or next week, but long term, I absolutely believe we're on the right track. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it.